look at, this is like my favorite part of the call is like the load up, you know? It's so awesome. Oh, hi everyone. Hi, so many new faces, so many familiar faces. Hi, you guys. I'm so excited. We're just going to wait another minute or two just to kind of like load up, and then we'll do the introductions. We'll get going. It's going to be a super awesome event today. I'm really excited. Okay. Wow. We're loading up. Load. So everybody, just by a nod of your head, because y'all are muted for now. How's everybody doing today? So if you're feeling okay, nod yes. And if you're not feeling okay, nod no. Oh, we got some yeses. Okay. Good. Yes. All right. So, I mean, we've got, how many people? We have 15 people, you guys. Admit. All right. So, I mean, I'm good with starting. Who all wants to start this thing? Let's get this part. Yeah, Kathy's like, let's do this. All right, party people. All right. Welcome to Soul Connection Sunday. Hold on. There's all this technical stuff, which I'm still mastering in this lifetime. Welcome to Soul Connection Sunday. We're a group of us, whoever us is, because us changes by the minute, literally. Yes. Just to join and connect with like-minded people and just to get into that vibrational energy of connection, because usually when we're connected with ourselves, it's significantly easier to connect with the divine. And so my intention with all of this is actually to have us all connect to ourselves, connect to each other, and then of course connect to the divine, so that we can really be with our life purpose and we can really get on track and just sort of know that course correcting is a way of life, and that when we're in social connection with each other, it just makes it a lot easier, and we feel safer in this world. So that is why I created this. And so right now they're once a month. Every Soul Connection Sunday, I'm bringing to you guys some amazing person who works in the esoteric, metaphysical, personal development, spirituality, paranormal, I might have said that twice, I don't know, field, to just kind of have us all connect together, collect together, and share their gifts. And I wanted to introduce you guys to today's featured guest, which I am so grateful and I'm so blessed to have here with me and for all of you guys. Her name is Rebecca Muir, and she is of Sacred Starlight. So I know that the introduction that I'm about to give her is like absolutely nothing compared to how she really truly is, because she's been very influential with me. She's actually helped me a lot with candle magic and just to kind of get my witchy woo-ness on. So I want to introduce you guys to Rebecca Muir, just to tell you a little bit about her, and then she'll be able to do her thing very shortly. But Rebecca is an astrology and tarot oracle. She's a Reiki and pranic healer. She does theta healing and breath work. She's also very musical. She leads meditations and sacred ceremonies. And she works with God, the universe, the force, source, love, divine intelligence. You know, whoever you work with, she works with too, through the law of attraction and the law of grace, which is super, super important. And she'll be able to tell you more about that. And so she's everything. And what's really great about her is that she's more than just everything. She actually heals. So I just want to give you just a quick introduction to Rebecca. So do you want to say hello to everybody?
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Terry. That was really nice. Welcome, you guys. Yeah, pretty much what Terry said. And I guess I can elaborate later, because I think we have some other kind of fun stuff happening before I get into all of the juicy Mars stuff we're going to cover today. Yes. And it is juicy. So yeah, but thank you, Terry. I love you. a lot. And thanks for having me.
Oh, it is my pleasure. And I do feel like you have a lot to offer people. And I know everyone on this Zoom call is going to benefit from the education and the experience that you'll be able to be giving us, which is really great. So just to give you a little rundown of the logistics of how we're going to go. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to start this off very, very, very soon with a spirit message. So I channeled this message actually last night. I was like, I gotta do this. So I channeled this last night. I'm still working on I know it's my spirit team, but I'm starting to feel some multi-dimensional beings come through. So I don't know exactly who's talking. And I'll be honest, the way I work is I'm of the belief system that you don't need to specifically know who does what of your spirit guides or your spirit team. They know what they're doing. It's their job. And we're human anyways, so we can't even fathom what they're doing, who they're doing. They just know what they do. So I oftentimes just call them my team. And that's how I connect. And they don't seem to have a problem with that at all because they don't have ego. So they don't need to be like, hey, I'm I'm the one in charge of your sense of humor, or I'm the one in charge of whatever, blah, 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 blah. So that's how I do my connection. But I am starting to feel a difference. And as you start to work with energy, you start to feel the difference in what energy is what, angelic energy versus multidimensional energy versus mediumship energy. So I just went ahead and I just channeled. And it'll be really interesting. This will be really cool, Rebecca. You'll have to with your segment, see if it actually fits in, because the last time we did it, it fit in. We had Kate Kofeld, who is a medium, and my message totally resonated with everything she was talking about. I was like, whoa, right? And Rebecca has no idea what I'm going to say, so it'll be
no idea,
right? So it'll be super interesting to see because there is infinite intelligence, and it is not my job as a human to tell them what to do. So
right.
They do them. Then we're going to go into Rebecca, and she's going to really give us a really great understanding of how to work with this energy for Mars, retrograde Mars. And she's been deep sigh. And I texted her the other day. I'm like, okay, well, I know that this is in this house. What does that mean? And she's like, Terry, it's not that easy. And I'm like, fuck me. So I'm like, all right, this is happening. So she will be able to really give us some information, and we'll do some sort of invocation and a blessing for it. Then we're going to take a quick potty break. Then we're going to come back, and I'm going to lead us in an energy shifting session, which should hopefully align with everything Rebecca has taught us as well.
I'm sure it will.
That's how we're going to roll today, you guys. So let me ask you this question, Rebecca. Is your presentation, is it question answer? Is there a part where people should ask questions? Or
I do have a spot for questions for sure.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah. So when it comes to that part or that point, there is, I believe it's if you go to your participant section at the bottom of the Zoom, where you click more. If you click more, no, not. Well, maybe, I don't know if you guys have it. There might be a hand.
I have, I don't have a hand, but I do have, allow participants to unmute themselves.
Okay, yeah. So, that's what I want you guys to raise your hand. Okay, Roxana's like, yes. So y'all know, y'all practice your hands. Good. Okay, see?
Got it.
These
Perfect.
people are better.
So I can call on people.
Exactly. So you'll know.
It.
Yeah. And then you'll have the capability to unmute them, or I can do that for you since you'll be in the Mars zone. So that's how we're gonna roll today. Okay, you guys. So I will promise that there will be a potty break because I know I'm gonna need one. So all right. So also, okay, so there's a chat in the use the reaction button for the thumbs up or the hand raise. So thank you, Roxanne. I appreciate that. So that's how you guys can do it. We'll figure it out. You know what? There's no such thing as perfectionism. Life is messy, and so is Zoom. So there you go. All right. So I'm going to start this party off with the message that I channeled last night. So here it is. Hopefully you guys will be able to get something out of it, or it resonates with you. So here we go. Dramatic reading by Terry Huberman. Okay, here we go. Time is being felt in spurts of pushes and pulls, ebbs and flows, contraction and expansion. Living in the third dimension of reality has its benefits to growing the human soul. What you're feeling is not deemed normal in your human eyes, and that's part of the problem, the deeming. Deeming is judgment instead of acceptance. These uncomfortable times and these times of the not known are not for you to judge, but to feel. From feelings come experiences as indicators for guidance. How you follow your indication system, which some of you call your emotional guidance system, is what leads you through the darkness of times. And your personal indication is not for others to follow, nor should you follow others. Much is being revealed to humanity now in regard to behaviors and actions, and nothing is to be feared, but it is. Fear is the largest indicating factor in the now, and the energy you humans are feeding into is not real, it's perceived. So many are talking, and what we want to call fibbing, based on ego systems of the human design. And what we want you to know is that it's perfectly wonderful that the ego is what you might call dark. There is legitimacy to darkness because without the darkness, the light can't be noticed. Since many of your human indication systems are operating perfectly, it's all part of your expansion. Ego systems sometimes speak louder than heart systems, which is where truth lives. The questions many of you pondering is, am I listening to an ego or a heart system? And contrary to what many humans want to believe, because it provides no certainty, is that there are many truths and just as many lies. The reason being is that many humans evolve at different rates and come consciously at different times. The heart will usually win out, and the truth is always revealed with time. So the judgment being placed in the bigger picture is irrelevant because of time. All of this makes those needing and desiring control angry, and many eruptions will be produced in the coming months because of human judgment and ego is a larger indicating system at the moment. And that is perfect. It is a truth, one in many. The light and dark are working together. The light is hiring the dark to nudge humanity. The human mind wants to separate the two so that it can make sense, but there is no separation, only experiences. Does it make you as a human uncomfortable to know that the light and dark are in co-creating right now? Of course it does. And it's reflecting in your reality as anger, hostility, control, and rage. There are truths out there you don't want to believe, and you are entitled to your own belief system. That in itself is an uncomfortable truth. All humans are working together in their light and dark roles to co-create a new reality. The humans that don't or can't see this as a union have a harder time discerning truth. It feels more comfortable to the human nervous system to find a safety net in an outcome, result, or declaration. And therefore, stands are changing, beliefs are changing, and opinions are changing. Are you one to judge another's belief or stand? Are you able to see difference as a truth? This makes you uncomfortable since there are other truths, not just yours. Your anger and rage keep you boxed and trapped in dark because of the judgments being held. that too is a truth. Is it yours? Your strengths as humans come from witnessing truth. All of them, not just yours. The more you realize that your truth isn't the only truth, the less separation you will feel. In this reality, there is no separation. Infinite intelligence is experiencing itself through different truths, and therefore they are all true and all exist. The longer you allow your anger to fester because you judge what you think truth is, the longer it will take you to reach flow and ease, which is perfect in nature of what experience is, and the beautiful playing out of darkness, which is so badly needed right now so that the light can reignite. It is always dark before dawn, and there's the moment there is no separateness, when the light is the dark and the dark is the light. That is the point of humanity that humans are in at the moment. It's co-creating, and therefore to not accept the many truths out there will slow down enlightenment, which is also imperfect experiencing. That was intense. That was intense. Even like in reading it, I was like, oh, I felt my body just kind of be like, oh, you know? So that's what came through. I really wish, like, the human part of me is like, oh, who said it? Who did it? Like, I want to know which one of y'all up there did this. But again, it's not for my human, the human part of me. So that was the message for this month with Spirit, or from Spirit. And I'm going to unmute you, Rebecca. I don't know if like any of that resonated with what you're about to learn us.
Yes, it did.
It did? Okay.
Yes.
Like, holy shit. Because like in all transparency, in the back of my mind, you know, my human ego is saying like, oh God, am I on track with the energy? And you know, it's like, but that's not, but again, I'm channeling this, so it's not up to me to make that. But like while I was reading it, I'm like, I hope Rebecca sees that this is A, B, and C, you know, it's just so.
Yeah.
Fun, so.
No, it's very, very much connected to what I will talk about.
So I'm going to mute myself, and I'm going to turn over the Zoom to Rebecca Muir of Sacred Starlight, y'all.
Well, hi, friends. Thank you all for, you know, having me here. I know you guys come, probably a lot of you guys come to Terry's Soul Connection Sunday each month. So it's really nice to meet you. And so, yes, everything that she said about me is pretty much what I do. But even though I'm an astrologer, I'm very much focused on how we can shift energy and work with it. Astrology is the weather. It's the conditions, not the outcome. Right? So, though this is my personal belief and also the belief of many astrologers that I've seen out there. So, astrology, just because there may be a challenging weather doesn't mean that something terrible has to happen to you or anything like that. But nevertheless, we will be discussing some of the astrological weather that we've had in 2020, which has been like frickin' legendary. And also, we're not finished with it. It's not finished with us. And so it's all alchemy. It's all transforming us. And it is a lot, there is a lot of push and pull coming up. That actually, well, we're already sort of in that. And I'll explain the details of what's going on with all of that. Also, as Terry was talking about the dark, which is interesting because I'm like the love and light variety of witch healer. I'm not like really a fan of the macabre or the dark or any of those things. And this year has been a real initiation for me because you have to face some of these things that come up in your own life, in the collective. All of these things do need to be faced. And it's as Terry said in her channeled message, from shout out to whoever that was talking through her. Thanks for the wisdom, friends. But essentially the way I've come to think of it is that if everything were just nice all the time and the divine didn't depend on relativity or contrast in order to facilitate expansion, if everything were just nice all the time, we would never actually discover our own power to enact change and to love unconditionally, to rise above. I had like a real issue and bone to pick with this throughout my whole life. I was like, why can't God just make everything be nice? Like, why does relativity have to be a thing? Like, who says that God had to create relativity in order for us to experience happiness and a state of well-being? And then I had this pivotal realization in a challenging love relationship a few years back that it really does mean so much more if you choose the high road in the midst of the shitstorm. And I was like, wow, to be chosen, even though it wasn't easy, to be chosen, even though there was pain involved, and then, you know, and to have somebody, or to put effort in toward me, or for me to put effort in toward them, it helped me to embody and experience like a depth of love that I hadn't experienced previously, right? And to discover that was in me, not just something that was being served up to me as an option to make these actions. So I hope this is, do you see, Terry, also, is this feeling connected to what you said, right? So yes, this is a real year for shadow work. There's no question. So I'm gonna hop right into it because I am a super dork and I made a presentation for you all. And there's way too much information here to cover in like the 20 or 30 minutes that I have. And depending on where we end up at the end of this, if there's still more, then I will create some sort of donation-based extension for anybody that wants to go deeper. But we'll try to get to the meat of it as much as we can today. By a show of hands, how many people are kind of do astrology, speak astrology to even a lesser or greater extent? Okay, I see like one person, two people. Okay, so a lot of you guys aren't necessarily big astrology people. Cool, because the presentation that I made is like real from scratch kind of vibes. So let me get into my screen share here. Google Chrome. Okay. Bop, bop, bop. So is everyone able to see my giant shiny logo? Excellent. Thank you all. Oh, why is it not letting me move? Oh, here we go. I see. I just have to. So Mars retrograde. This is also interesting. I can't remember exactly what you said, but kindle the light within is like one of the themes, right? So we'll see why that is. If any of you guys want to take a minute to just grab a journal or a piece of paper, there's not necessarily going to be any sort of massive writing, but I will give you journaling prompts for later because this is deep work. And so if you really want to get into it, because it is so juicy, especially over the next few months, you may want to return to some of the prompts that I give you just on your own time. But for today, also just any notes you want to take. And perfect. I will just maybe wait a quick second before going in case anybody wants to grab something. Yeah, I'm gonna wait like 10 more seconds in case anybody did that. Also, you guys can totally connect with me on Instagram at sacred_starlight. I will just say that as well. If anybody has questions that we don't have time to get to, and there'll be question and answer and stuff after that. But I'm pretty good about my DMs, responding to my DMs. So feel free to connect with me there as well. Especially if you have questions that are more personal and you don't want to publicly ask them, because sometimes this is sensitive sensitive times and sensitive energies. So before we even talk about what Mars is, I'll just say that this is a retrograde period, right? So rest is not the enemy of progress. It is fuel. So there's a major theme also. And then retrograde, sometimes you have to go back to go forward. So anytime you have a planet going retrograde, and the outer planets like Saturn, Jupiter, Uranus, Pluto, those guys are retrograde like almost half the year, every year. So it's not as big of a deal, but we really feel it when the inner planets go retrograde, and Mars goes retrograde the least often of any planet. It's only like once every couple years. So this is also just so you can see, Mars is not particularly big. And he's right next to the Earth. It's the 4th planet from the sun. So you can just kind of see, here's where Mars is and what he looks like in relation to the other guys in the mix, right? Okay, so here we go. Let me just see if I can get this out of the way. I don't know if you guys can see my little photo boxes, but Mars. So Mars, the energy of Mars, what even is that? Because we know that it's retrograde, but it's like, what is up with Mars? Mars is life force energy. It is the archetype of the warrior, which of course can always be worked in the light or worked in the shadow, right? So there can be like good warrior, fighter for truth, defender of the weak, all of that stuff. And then there can be like, of course, war can also be quite destructive, and there can be a lot of pain and suffering that comes with that too. But ultimately, even though Mars astrologically is seen as a malefic planet, malefic being like bad, it's a neutral energy that of course you have to watch, right? You have to tend to it, but there's a lot of positive manifestations of this energy. So 4th planet from the sun, it is definitely a distinctive masculine energy. The day of the week for Mars energy is Tuesday. This is if you decide later that you want to investigate any sort of traditional astrological magic rituals. Like, we don't have time for all of that today, but Tuesday is like a day of Mars energy. The signs that Mars rules are Aries and Scorpio. So if you are an Aries or a Scorpio, you might be, more Martian or have some more Martian qualities, as well as if you happen to speak a lot of astrology and know your chart, there's a lot of, if you have a lot of planetary placements in either of those signs, it can give you more of that sort of energy as well. And yeah, it's a personal planet. It travels close to the sun, so we feel its energy a lot more significantly than, say, the outer planets in the personality and things like that. And takes about 2 years to go around in its orbit, and it goes retrograde about once every 2 years, right? So it's the least often to go retrograde. And Mars energy, also because it's the life force energy, it inspires and it leads and it takes action. Mars wants to push forward. It wants to move forward. So this is why, like, one of the big themes over the next few months that we'll see is frustration, because Mars is pretty inhibited right now for a couple reasons of wanting to get done what he wants to do. But it does bring opportunity for energizing and forward movement. If you happen to know your chart, which we don't have time, it's complex to get into everyone's charts today, but it will energize and bring forward movement in whatever the Aries part of your chart is right now, because that's where Mars is. So Mars also, because he rules the signs of Aries and Scorpio, is more powerful when he happens to be moving through one of those signs, because he goes through every sign of the zodiac. It takes him about 2 years to go all through all 12 signs. When he's in Scorpio, he's like loving it. When he's in Mars, he's loving it, but not this time. But as we'll see in a few minutes, he's in Aries currently. And so normally he's more powerful there, but because he's so, I guess, confined or constrained this time, he might be more pissed off. So let's see. Yeah, so this is a powerful retrograde for that reason, and it's more intense. Whatever sign and house your natal Mars is, this is where Mars was in the sky when you were born. You don't need to worry about this if you don't know your astrology, but I'm just mentioning it for those people that happen to know. Like Terry, you said you have natal Mars in I'm like ninth house. Okay. Right. So she knows, so that tells you a little bit about your inherent or innate Mars story. But wherever the Aries house is in your chart, and the Capricorn house too, is where this story is going to be unfolding the most this year. So we want to work Mars in the light aspect of Mars. So get your journal and your piece of paper. Can I ask you guys, I think I can see myself and all these little boxes of you guys, but is there anything blocking your vision right now? Okay, excellent. So I'm going to read these off, and maybe circle the ones that you feel really good about, or the ones that you feel like you need a little bit more help with, something that you feel like you want to develop more, because these are some of Mars's really beautiful traits. Leadership, honor, honesty, inspiration, motivation, effort, daring, the defender, strong will, energy, physical vitality, driven, action, desire and instinct, passion, sexuality, and libido, the animus, masculinity or divine masculine, conquest, courage, this is my personal favorite one, courage, assertiveness, enthusiasm, heat and fire, force, strength, impulse, initiative is a very dynamic energy, confidence, sense of self, survival, vigor and virility, competitive and goal-oriented, the hero, adventure, self-expression, the urge to be number one and to win, being dominant, and also independent as well. So just jotting down anything that jumps out to you as qualities that you either are like feeling really good about, that you have activated in your life. You might want to deepen those, or stuff that you need help with. Okay, so shadow Mars energy, irritability, aggression or being super aggro, impatient, reckless, aggressive, angry, rage comes to mind, strife, conflict, attack, violence, destruction, war, explosive, burning, fire, sore loser, impatient, bad temper, willfulness, pushy, selfish, egoic, lust, machismo, toxic masculinity, restless, quarrelsome, the bully, thoughtless, abusive, brutal, brutality, cocky, overdrive, overdoing it, burnout, lack of stamina, and lack of follow through. So also circling any of these that you have trouble with and that have been popping up in your life. And then Terry, also, can you give me like unmute yourself real quick and tell me how much time left I have?
Yeah, you've got a good 20 minutes.
Oh, so praise. Okay.
Yeah.
Yay. Yay. All right. So, yeah, any of these that, hang on, where am I? No. Where were we? Okay, here we were. Yeah, so any of these that feel intimidating to you, or stuff that you've struggled with, like who hasn't had something on this list, right? And by the way, I forgot to tell you guys, I'm a double Aries. So Mars is my ruling planet, and I was born with Mars retrograde, so I know a thing or two about this energy. So I do feel qualified to talk to you guys about this. So yeah, you always, for me personally, when there's a lot of planets in the sign of Aries, or when Mars is acting up, like I have to watch myself, because I feel overwhelmed, and I definitely have more of a tendency to be irritable or angry. My natal Mars is in Libra, so that softens it a bit, and it's going backwards, but still, right? So becoming more mindful of the ways that this energy can get out of balance within ourselves really freaking helps. Okay, so this is the chart for the Mars retrograde station. Don't worry if it looks totally insane to you guys, but there's something that I want to point out here. There's no way that we can really talk just about Mars energy because, well, it's 2020. And how many of you guys, I guess I can't even see all of your hands, but if any of you guys have heard of the Saturn-Pluto conjunction that happened in January, I see people nodding. These are two planets that move extremely slowly, and like Pluto has a 250 plus year orbit. It takes them that long to get all the way around the zodiac. Saturn is 29 years all the way around. So the fact that they kind of came together in the same place in the sky is very rare. The last time it happened was in 1982. I have this conjunction in my birth chart, so I know a thing or two about this energy. And then we also have Jupiter, who moves very slowly and takes 12 years to go around. And all three of these guys on their totally separate orbits just happen to be coming together at the same place in the sky. And it's a real energy of reckoning. It's like Pluto is like the death destruction planet, and it's also about power. So, and this is all happening in the sign of Capricorn. So Capricorn is like tradition, old institutions, societal structures, the patriarchy, white supremacy, you know, all of these, but, you know, traditional institutions and the way society is traditionally set up and structured. And you can think there's a lot of other things like that too, but all of these planets moving into this sign are transforming how we do this collectively. With Pluto, you see abuses in power. And so, well, you can see it that way. Pluto is also an opportunity for us to discover the power within, right? It's like facing the dark. Usually it takes or strips something away that we think we can't live without. And that is what forces us to discover that the light and everything we need has been inside of us, and to kind of rise like the phoenix out of the ashes. So when Saturn, the planet of reality checks, bumps into Pluto, and they're so slow, they're like in conjunction all year. They're just kind of like bearing down on the same degrees of the zodiac, like to really drive their point home, kind of like if you're rolling out dough for a pie, you're kind of going back and forth over this lump to flatten it out, right? And it takes a few passes for things to smooth out. So these two planets came together, and it's a reckoning. So wherever the Capricorn sign is in your chart, if you know your chart, and I'll have some diagrams to help you with this shortly, but that's where most people are experiencing some sort of reckoning, like stuff you may have been hoping would work out, but you weren't so sure, or the way you were going was unsustainable. You kind of were trying to patch stuff up, or jerry-rig stuff, or get extensions, and it could be in your love life, it could be in your career, it could be in your finances, like it could be anywhere, right? But this year is like a reckoning of, ooh, I'm all out of patch-ups, I'm all out of extensions, like I have to face this, and there is no shortcut or quick fix. I have to get right in there and like look at what's really going on and build a new structure from the ground up while old structures kind of start to come down. So it can feel pretty dark, and I was anticipating people would be experiencing this on a personal level, and of course I was like, me and every other astrologer were like, wow, what's going to happen in the collective this year? And then here we are, right? So then Jupiter comes in, who likes to expand and bless everything, and he also moves slowly. So him being in the mix has amplified everything and intensified everything, but he's not really as free to, he doesn't have as much freedom to bless and expand in the sign of Capricorn. But anyway, those three guys are like all in there. So the reason that I'm off on this tangent is that it's pretty crucial to understanding what's going on with Mars. And before I move on, I know I just dumped so much astrology on you guys. So I'm going to try to cap it up in like one sentence. We have 3 planets that move slowly, that enact massive, massive shifts on a personal and a collective level, all in one place in the sky, like really enacting massive, deep change. And the change that doesn't happen overnight. And it's like, you can't talk your way out of this shit. Like, you have to face it and do the work. And rebuild, right? Or restructure, and you got to do it the right way. And sometimes the right way is not the easy way, right? So this is what's happening. Does anyone have questions? If you have a question, please feel free to unmute yourself. Awesome. Okay, great. So that's happening in Capricorn. And also, by the way, Mars passed through Capricorn, I believe in March, like February, March, when Corona was like, pew. So they had 4 of those guys in Capricorn. So now Mars has continued along his journey and has gone into the sign of Aries, where he's making a very uncomfortable aspect to this pileup of planets in Capricorn. I have a friend who calls planets in Capricorn the Capricorn Mafia. I just thought that was cute, you know, like all these big guys, and these big guys are like, it's a big deal. Like, I mean, if they're working on any specific aspect in your chart, you're really going to feel it too. So it is cataclysmic and it's huge, and it can be good because it's an opportunity to like purge out garbage and like rebuild new stuff, but it's very hard. So Mars, here we are. I don't actually know if, due to the limitations of Google Slides, if I can make this bigger, but if you can you guys see my mouse when I'm like moving my mouse? Excellent. So here's Mars. I'm just going to circle him. He is at 28 degrees of Aries, and he just stopped to go backwards because he just happens to be in his retrograde phase at the same time as he's in like such an uncomfortable aspect to these other guys. This is the Capricorn Mafia over here, right? So sign of Capricorn, we have Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter, and this is Pallas Athena, who's an asteroid. You don't need to, we're not going to talk about her today. But so essentially in astrology, all the planets are always talking to each other. And that's why it can be so nuanced and so complex. But when you have a 90-degree angle from one planet to another, it's an adjustment. It's kind of like your rough edges are going to get sanded down. It's called a square, and it is not comfortable. It doesn't mean it's bad. Some people would say, okay, it's a challenging aspect. Yes, it is, but it also helps us grow. This is what we were talking about, the dark being part of this dance, right? It's how you discover your power. It's how you discover your light. So Mars is making a 90-degree angle to Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter all at the same time. So if he was making a 90-degree angle to even one of those planets, it would be intense. And he's just, it's like, so this is where we are during this and because he's retrograde at this time, he's gonna go backwards. He's picking a fight with each one of these guys, and he's not going to win because they're all bigger than him and they're all moving more slowly than he is. And he's moving so slowly, and he's just gonna pick a fight with one of them each at a time. But it's kind of like if you pick a fight with one person that has a big crew with them. Like, he might be picking a fight with Saturn, but he's got like his friends with him, so you're just like, So anyway, poor Mars is basically in a tiff with the Capricorn Mafia, and he has to square each of these planets by 90 degrees, one at a time, and he's moving very slowly, so it's a long, drawn out, very tense, very frustrating time. Is this making sense? I'm sorry I don't have like a little bit more clear diagrams, but this is what's going on. So the Capricorn and Aries parts of your chart are going to have a real push-pull. And this isn't to say that Mars is, when I said he's not going to win this fight, well, he's not really fully going to win it, but we still need to listen to what Mars is telling us. I'm going to move forward here. Terry, how am I doing for time? I go on and on. 10 minutes. Got it. Beautiful. So, by the way, anybody that wants for me to send them this diagram later, because we don't have time to go super in depth to it, this just says, if you were an Aries or an Aries rising, or Taurus rising, right? This tells you what area of your life that's going to be, you're going to be feeling the Mars part, the pissed off stuff. Or the depleted, you might be feeling depleted or lack of energy because he's moving backwards right now too. But really it's like an agitation, sort of frustration, crisis, conflict kind of vibe, right? So the Aries house, say for example, you're Taurus or Taurus rising, that's happening in your 12th house, right? And this just tells you what that means. So yes, actually, yeah, so I will send this along after, or do a document file share. But yeah, this will help you a lot with that. But even if you don't know this stuff, you don't worry, you're gonna feel all of this energy come up, and you can just be like, all right, here's how I deal with it. Okay, great, we already kind of covered this. And then also, this is the same document for the Capricorn part of your chart, which is actually probably the most important part of your chart for 2020 transformation, because this is where the Capricorn mafia is. I don't even want to say mafia. I know that means you guys kind of get how intense this is, but those planets, Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto, are really enacting some very deep, very profound change in this part of your chart. It's just not that much fun, but it can be very helpful. It is helpful. We have to embrace it because it's like a let go or be dragged kind of energy as well. So this will just tell you, depending on what your sign is or your rising sign, and you always want to, by the way, say for example, you're a Libra, or a Libra rising, you want to read for Libra rising, no matter what your sun sign is. So you're reading for your sun sign and your rising sign. You can kind of see how those work. But the Capricorn part of your chart is basically at odds or in conflict with the Aries part of your chart. All right, so these dates, September 9th is when Mars went retrograde, and he will go direct on November 14th. But even before he went retrograde, he was at an uncomfortable angle to these other planets. And even after he goes direct, he'll be at an uncomfortable angle to these other planets for a little while longer. And normally, here's these significant dates that are here. One of these would be something I could talk about and be like, oh my God, Mars is going to square Saturn. It's going to be such a big deal. Well, the fact that we have Mars is squaring Saturn, Mars is squaring Pluto, Mars is squaring Jupiter, then he's backing up, then he's going to square them all again, one by one. Then when he goes forward and direct, he's going to square them all again one last time. So he's basically having, he's having a tip each one of these planets, and he has to have it 3 times in order to get the resolution, or to really get in there and clean that out and learn what needs to be learned and move forward. So these are all these dates. And so you can pay attention to these dates, because we will be feeling, like, for example, on the 29th of September is a big one, because Saturn is also going to stop and go direct. And that's a whole other thing that we don't have time to talk about, but it's like the same day as he squares Mars. So that'll be like an agitating day. But essentially all of these you can just see as this, there's so much happening that's so intense throughout this entire period of time. You can really see, like, from basically mid-August through January. And the flavor and the feeling of it is going to shift in January, because the final square, or the final fights, will be, all the planets will have moved signs. So it'll be like a little different. But essentially, we have a lot of this kind of conflict energy and anger energy coming up throughout this entire period. And so I'm happy to send these dates to anybody. You can take a screenshot right now too as well. Because if you're really feeling like the intensity on, say, on or around September 29th, just knowing that there's some stuff happening makes you feel less crazy. You're like, oh God, this is just the weather. Okay, I can breathe and it's okay. And for example, as well, that's important, like the Beirut explosion happened on Mars square Jupiter exactly. And it was the first thing I did when I heard about that, was pull up the chart. And I was like, oh my God, because Jupiter just amplifies. Sometimes astrology is so literal. It's like Mars is fire. It's firepower. It can be very explosive. And so I used to always just look at astrology as being really metaphorical. And of course it is, but also there can be a lot of violence throughout this period. So we have to just be mindful, especially knowing everything that's, I mean, California, Oregon, like the West Coast is on fire. Like, come on. Mars, so subtle Mars. And then of course, all of the civil unrest that's been happening, right? And then COVID-19. And so we'll all be experiencing this, you know, in our own interpersonal relationships potentially, but also in the collective. So moving forward, what do we do with these energies, right? I think I pretty much explained this. Mars wants to move forward. He's angry about something, and or possibly several things, but he's up against a lot. And what happens is when Mars gets pissed, he just pushes harder. And I get it, because like I've lived this energy a lot in my life, but it doesn't always work out so well. And it's not just saying you shouldn't be paying attention to his feelings. If you're angry or you're frustrated, you want to listen to that. It's your truth. It's guiding you to something that's very necessary, that needs to shift and change. However, acting blindly in a rage may not get you the results that you actually want, right? So this is where we have to really listen to this energy, and this is where the healing bit comes in, right? So sorry, I'm just looking, the medicine, right? So this is a potential for healing, rest, because Mars can't go forward as much. So it's a great time to recoup your energy if you're burnt out or exhausted or just overwhelmed or confused. If you're angry or frustration is coming up and you're like, this needs to happen in my life, or I need to make this happen, this isn't right, I need to fix this, it's an opportunity to listen and honor that and get back into alignment. And it's actually a wonderful opportunity for conflict resolution. So if conflicts, not only will they have the potential to come up, but if you've already been in conflict with somebody over a long term, it's a potential, this would be like an opportunity for you to be like, hey, I'm kind of interested in like maybe a truce, or seeing if we can resolve this. And you might be surprised if they are more receptive to that at this point in time as well. But you can ask. So essentially though, because all of these planetary energies are working together, like Mars is so enmeshed with everything that's happening in Capricorn right now. In order to maximize our forward movement and our healing and our realignment, we want to invoke the highest qualities of all of these planets. So Mars, highest quality energy. If you need more rest, if you're depleted, you need more rest. Inspiration, looking within, what inspires you. Truth, honor, integrity, courage, right action, strong leadership, willingness to fight for what is right and what is fair. And we can of course see a lot of this happening in the collective, but it's like the emotions might be, the anger might be extremely valid, and let's also be strategic, right? So we want to invoke also Saturn. Saturn is just as strong, is stronger than Mars right now. Saturn in Capricorn is also in his sign of rulership. Saturn rules Capricorn, so he's incredibly strong. So he's like the wall. He's the structure that Mars is like just banging himself up against, trying to break it down, and Saturn's like, So Mars, if we can combine Mars energy with Saturn energy and say, my anger is righteous, or I'm frustrated, but also I might need to not just run headfirst into a wall. I might need to have a little bit more patience, a little bit more strategy, a little bit more stamina, a little bit more responsibility, and being a little bit more commitment, and being willing to put in the work to rebuild. This is really going to help me a lot. to change. If you're changing a structure and you're up against a structure that is super entrenched, like you can't just necessarily bring it down with like, I mean, you might have to like enact some real strategy to bring that down over time and build something new over time, right? So, and then also using that Jupiter just amplifies everything, right? So using that to kind of, but being mindful to stay balanced in your energy. And then Pluto, whatever is going down and whatever kind of loss you might be experiencing, this is helping you to discover your own power and to rise like the phoenix. And I know that sounds kind of cheesy and trite, but it really is true. And I would go more into that, but I don't have time. So just knowing that you guys can get these slides from me after, and then combining the highest archetypal expressions, combining them all is going to help Mars's mission, because he is on a mission for change that is necessary and does need to happen. Okay, about anger. Do I have like, what, 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes? Yay. All right, anger, because this is a big one, right? So some people, especially if you're like more water or earth type, you might just be like exhausted or grieving or feeling a lot of sadness and grief, which is like what's underneath anger for the most part. But if you're, you know, it just depends on who you are. For me, I don't get sad as much as I get pissed. I've had to learn to work with that. I'm like, what's underneath this? But anger is a healthy emotion, right? Showing us where our boundaries have been breached, where we've been hurt, where something is not okay with us. And it is often a cover emotion for deep grief. It's a powerful barometer, and it can guide us to make powerful and necessary changes in our relationships, in our lives. It can guide us to, oh my God, this has not been okay. I need to face this. I need to heal this trauma. It can be incredibly healthy because it takes you out of that victimhood, passive state and helps you feel like there might be something you can do. You get frustrated when your efforts are blocked, right? And that's where with retrogrades, we have to get creative and sometimes go around. Like my whole life has been like this so far because I'm a Mars retrograde baby, right? I'm like always trying to just charge for, and I'm an Aries, right? Devil Aries. I'm trying to like charge forth, and then it's like, I gotta be creative. I gotta find other ways to get where I'm going. So the other thing too that Terry can help you with, or I can help you with if you're looking for sessions, because we're both energy workers, and I'm gonna give you lots of free tips too. But anger can overwhelm the nervous system. And when this happens, it's appropriate to release it, but you want to find a safe way to do that. So it doesn't mean, like, you want to listen to what that's telling you, right? But also you don't have to just swallow it like a bitter pill. If for whatever reason you don't have the solution yet, or you haven't been able to fix everything yet in your life or solve the problem externally. So you can find a safe way to release that pent-up anger. I like breath work and a good primal yell myself. Some people like to punch pillows. Screaming into pillows is awesome. I can't say enough about that. I'm a singer too, so I feel like the throat chakra is the gateway of the heart, and it's so powerful. But whatever it is for you, I even if you're kind of cringing at that and you're like, I would never, or I could never, just stay open to it, because there may come a time over the next few months where you really, you're overwhelmed in your nervous system, and you need to discharge some of this energy so it is not poisoning your body. Physical exercise, going for a run. If you want to Google Tosha Silver, she has an amazing ritual where she pours all the garbage and the toxic emotions into a coconut, and then she smashes it. You know, it's amazing. And then water. These are other mitigating factors. So drinking a lot of water and staying really hydrated, going swimming, taking salt baths. You'd be surprised. These sound simple, but they really do balance energy. And we are on such an overload. You can write a letter and burn it as well, but like have water on hand, fire safety. You don't want to play, this is not a time to play with fire, especially if you live in a dry environment. Absolutely not a time to play with fire. Mars, again, can be surprisingly literal. And you want to be more careful with recklessness, just in general. Other things you can do, let's see. Oh, I think I just went over most of these. Also, call a friend, call your family, like friends. Friendships and connecting with other people is so powerful. A powerful way to start to discharge, and shift and change some of this energy. And of course, meditation and prayer are super free, and they're very powerful ways, because you can also ask for help. You can ask the divine to help you navigate this. And I highly recommend that you do that. So let's see, there's also a Mars mantra. This is just something that you can Google if you want to find more about this. We don't have time to get into that today. But I think we're probably just about out of time. But one of the questions I do want everyone to ask yourself, these are the journaling prompts, is where do I feel or have I felt blocked, frustrated, or angry? What am I angry about, if there's anything? Or what am I grieving? What am I, like, if you're not the anger type, then be grief. And just really deeply look at what that's trying to tell you. And then going from there. Because ultimately, astrology, like I said, it's all energy. And if you are vibrating super high, because Terry and I believe we can, and I'm sure all of you guys do too, believe that you can shift and change energy and heal things. Yeah. That's why you're here. Yeah. The more evolved you are, or the more you are becoming self-aware and, healing, the less this is going to fuck with you. Yeah. Like it'll happen in different ways. It might be more subtle versus like if the universe has to bop you over the head really hard to get your attention, right? And so this is my personal opinion, but it's going to come up in ways where we still have learning to do in our lives. That's the whole point, right? So also conflict could be like a really big thing. Learning how to navigate conflict with grace. And show up with grace, because it may just be something that's unavoidable over this period of time, and it's always teaching us something to help us come back into balance. Yes. So absolutely. And I don't know that we're going to necessarily have time for questions right now. I totally get it. You guys can hit me up later, or we'll figure it out. And I'm just like, I think that's pretty much it. So I know that you're going to go for a minute here, Terry, but for anybody else that does want to hit me up, you can just get me on Instagram at sacred_starlight, or Rebecca at sacredstarlight.com if you're an email person and not an Instagram person. And we'll see, I might check in and offer like another donation based, because this is a longer period of time, right? So Mars is not going direct until November 14th. And then we still have a few more tense times and dates, so we can have another check-in with this later, and I'll make it donation based. But yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you so much.
I know it's so hard. It's so hard. Something that's really interesting, you guys, and Rebecca, I know that you're familiar with crystals and stuff. When you were talking about the anger and how to mitigate anger, I started to receive information about the garnet. Do you understand why garnet? Okay, so all y'all here, if you can get yourself some garnet for this period, I was just like tell them to get garnet. So you guys, if you can get yourself a rock.
Smoky quartz is excellent as well.
Smoky quartz, okay.
Smoky quartz, as well, of course, black tourmaline, selenite, numite, and obsidian if you're really trying to purge grief. Okay. But that comes with a warning too, because it's going to bring things up in order to help you release them.
Oh, well, that's cool. Kathy just said garnet's a January birthstone, which is mainly Capricorn. So garnet might push away those fuckers, the Capricorn.
I don't know if there's anything we can do to totally get out of detention here, but some mitigating factors for sure.
Yeah. Oh, we got some Capricornians here. That's awesome. Kathy and Stephanie, fabulous. Okay. All right, you guys. So thank you so much again, Rebecca. I really appreciate it. It is going to be now potty time. Okay, I don't know how about you guys need a potty break, but I do. So we're just going to take a quick brief pause here, and then we're going to do some energy shifting to get ourselves into more of that restful state that you were talking about. That would be that healing place for Mars. So
Nice.
So we'll be right back, you guys. Okay, so it looks like the majority of us are back. Can y'all hear me okay? Yeah, cool. Thanks, guys. I love seeing all the emojis. All right, the cockatoo's been activated because he's clearly in his Mars energy right now. So you might hear him, but hopefully not. Thank you, Rebecca. That was like very interesting because I'm like, okay, great. There's not going to be any more shift to the suckage of my life, my love life. So that's good. Like, just going to continue getting suckier. Yay.
Well, no, but here's the thing. This is an opportunity, right? With these retrogrades, like, we don't often realize areas that are out of alignment.
Oh, yeah.
This is the universe getting our attention so that we can bring it into alignment. So it is always good news. Your love life is going to thrive. I bless you with a thriving love life. Taking it. Boom. We just may have to be a little bit patient with the timing so that the alchemy can occur within us.
Screw patience, girl.
That's Mars right there. He's not having Mars. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You got to invoke some Saturn.
I know, girl.
And you got to blend them together.
There's gonna be some invokage happening. Don't you worry. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna take an opportunity for some brain and heart coherence. So typically, that's how I do meditations. And energy shifting work. So Rebecca, I hope you don't mind that I'm going to mute you. Please don't be offended. There we go. They're doing so much science and so much research on the heart that it's just hard to not just refute it, but ignore it, because they're finding that there are actually neurons in the heart. And so that means there are brain cells in the heart, which means your heart is also a brain. And it's the largest electromagnetic field of your body. So it's bigger than your brain. And the heart and the brain together, when they're working in coordination or coherency or harmony, is the key to creating new realities where you can actually get what you want, right? So it creates a torus field of information going out and then magnetizing and bringing it into you. So I've really geared a lot of my meditations towards brain and heart coherency. And it's the Heart Math Institute that is really doing a lot of this research. So they've got psychotherapists, neuroscientists, all these ists doing a lot of brain work, brain mapping and all the things, heart EKGs, EEGs, the whole thing. So as Dr. Joe Dispenza says, science is the contemporary language of mysticism. So everything is just mystical until they prove it with science. And it's just a matter of time. So I prefer to call this mystical just because it sounds more woo and it's just more dramatic and a lot more fun, but really this is science. So that's what we're going to be shifting into. And I channel these, so I have no freaking clue what's going to happen. So we'll see what spirit or any multi-dimensional beings have for us. So let's go ahead and do this. So just really quick, I don't know if any of you guys have watched this on YouTube or not, but typically what I do is I have people tap on their heart center, their energetic heart center. So in case you need to see what that looks like, it's in the sternum section right here. So just go ahead and start tapping. There will be times where I'll direct you to put both of your hands on your heart. And of course, closing eyes and deep belly breaths. So what deep belly breaths do is it activates, well, and so does the heart tapping, is it activates the parasympathetic system. So it activates the vagus nerve, which is a nerve that goes from the bottom of the diaphragm all the way into the brain, some part of the brain, I can't remember. And it triggers the part of us humans in the parasympathetic part of our nervous system where we feel safe and secure. And that's really the goal, to be able to create any kind of reality, because we won't do anything, we won't go anywhere unless we feel safe and secure. We will constantly be in survival mode. So let's see what's going to happen, and let's see how we're going to go ahead and shift our energy for right now. Hold on one second. I just want to put this. Okay, for some reason, I'm not sure why, everything is on Rebecca. What I mean by that is like the view is on Rebecca. So can everybody see me? Yeah? Okay, good. Whew. I was like, that might be weird to just see Rebecca and then hear me like a ventriloquist. Okay, good. So as long as you guys can see me, that's super cool. All right. So let's close our eyes, and we're going to take 3 deep belly breaths together. Okay. And when we're doing our deep belly breathing, we're just inhaling into our tummies and then exhaling, and we're going to push out a breath really hard through our mouths, forming the O sound, like that. So you will be making a sound, but nobody's hearing you because you're muted. So you will just hear me. So let's go ahead and let's do 3 of those together, please. And while we're doing that, let's tap on our heart. So go ahead and do your 3 deep belly breaths. And then once you've done that, if your eyes aren't already closed, you can have your eyes closed and just keep tapping on your chest in your heart center area. And just really ground into that heart area right now, that heart-centered area. So feel into your body right now. And what you're doing is you're placing your focus and your awareness on your heart. And wherever we're placing our awareness and our focus is where our energy is going. So right now we're actually sending our own energy to our heart. So just feeling into your physical body as you tap onto your heart. Doing your deep belly breaths at your own pace. Just knowing that at this very moment, there's nowhere you have to be and nothing you have to do. And just feeling into your heart now. And you can stop tapping on your heart, and you can place 1 or 2 hands on your heart now, it doesn't matter. And just now move your attention to the middle of your forehead. And if there are any thoughts rushing around in your mind, and it doesn't matter what kind of thoughts, just any thoughts if you're having thoughts, just kind of collect and gather them in the forehead, in the center of your mind, on your forehead, okay? Deep belly breaths, collecting those thoughts in your head. And now feel into these words that I'm about to say. And if you want to say them out loud to repeat after me, or if you want to say them silently to yourself, you can use any one of those options. But just really feel into these words. Even though I'm having these thoughts, and even though I may be angry, I'm choosing to accept myself in this very moment. So even if I'm having angry thoughts right now, I'm choosing to love myself in this moment. Even if I have any angry thoughts rushing around in my mind, I'm choosing to love and accept myself in this moment. And now start tapping on your heart again. And these thoughts that have been collecting in the center of your forehead, at the count of 3, as we're tapping in our heart center, we're going to drop those thoughts from our mind into our heart at the count of 3. 1, 2, and 3. Just drop those thoughts into the heart. And take a nice deep breath, and when you're ready, slowly exhale. So if there are any residual thoughts in your mind, that's okay, not a problem. We're going to take another opportunity to finish dropping the rest of those thoughts into our heart. So let's go ahead and do that at the count of 3. 1, 2, and 3. Dropping them into your heart. Good. And now just keep tapping on your heart. Feeling all of those thoughts. Really feel the frustration and the anger and the lack of control that you may have over situations, over people not doing or operating the way you want them. Just really feel that in your heart as you're tapping. Just really feel into that. Give yourself permission to feel into that. And I know that it might be uncomfortable, and that's okay. Your heart can handle it. The reason why your heart can handle it is because it is the largest electromagnetic field of the body, which means it has the capability of alchemizing, transmuting, and transforming those feelings into something else. So just keep tapping and breathing into your heart now. Just really giving yourself permission to feel all the sensations in your heart. Just really collecting that energy in your heart. And what's beautiful is that your body knows exactly what it needs to do, so you don't have to even try. Just trust. So what's nice about that is that you don't have to worry, consider, or think about whether you're doing this right or wrong. Because your body has an amazing intelligence. It's actually smarter than you are. And it knows exactly what to do. So really feeling any anger that you might have, that your body is holding, and allowing your heart to alchemize that feeling of anger into compassion. So much is out of our control. And we want so much of life to go the way that we want and intend it to go. But because we're co-creating with other humans, it just doesn't work that way. So our heart can allow us and give us permission to shift that anger into compassion. So start to feel in your heart now that shift and that change from anger to compassion. And you can just put both of your hands on your heart now and feel into that sensation of compassion. And really breathe into and out of your heart now. I know you're using your lungs to breathe, but just see if you can breathe into your heart and release that energy from your heart as well. And you can start tapping on your heart center again. And either repeat after me silently, out loud, or just feel into these words. I let myself feel what I feel. And this allows the energy of these emotions to shift in my body and in my heart. And nothing that I feel is wrong. In this very moment, all is well and I am safe. And I can give myself compassion and be kind to myself for any actions that I might have taken while being angry. It's okay. I'm only human, and I'm doing the best that I can. Take a deep breath, and when you're ready, slowly exhale. I'm okay, and it's okay. I now know better, and I can move forward and give myself permission to forgive myself for doing or saying anything from when I was angry. Because it's okay for me to feel what I feel right now. It's okay for me to feel into my body and into my heart right now. So just taking a moment to feel the space that you're in right now. And you can even ask your heart a question. You can ask your heart, what else am I feeling here right now? Is there anything else that I'm feeling? And just listen to what your heart may be telling you. And you don't need to rationalize it at all. It doesn't even have to make any sense. Just be open and willing to feel whatever it is that you feel. In this moment, you're giving yourself an opportunity to honor your emotions and your feelings. And we don't often get the chance to do that. So now you can fully allow your body to experience, release, transmute, and shift energy. And now just put both hands on your heart. And again, breathe into your heart. Like, you can ask yourself, what was I not honoring fully in myself that I can now honor fully in myself? And if you're feeling any heaviness or any sensation in any other part of your body, that's okay. Just allow those sensations and feelings to come up. And you can trust your body. Your body knows exactly what it needs to do. Start tapping on your heart again. And feel into your body. And you can either repeat after me out loud or silently, or just feel into these words. I see you, body. I feel you, body. I'm listening to you, body. I'm acknowledging you, body. I love you, body. And thank you. Thank you. Thank you for letting me experience all of the emotions that I feel as I experience life here on planet Earth. You protect me when I'm angry. You protect me when I'm scared. And I'm honoring you now. Thank you for protecting me, body. Thank you for communicating with me, body. I hear what you have to say, body. So just keep tapping and breathing into your heart. And knowing that at any given moment, even on your own, when you are not working with me, you have the ability to tap into the amazing, dynamic, infinite intelligence of your heart. Where your heart can shift and change and transmute and alchemize any and all negative emotion, because it knows what to do even if you don't. And it works in conjunction with your amazing physical body to let you know that your loving nature in your heart is accessible at any time, and that you can be open to receive this alchemization and transmutation experience to help you feel better, to release, let go, shift and change any anger, fear, or lack of control you experience at any given moment. So just put both of your hands on your heart and just take a moment to breathe into your heart and really feel the sensation of the generous present moment. So slowly, slowly now start coming back to me. Still connecting to your heart. Coming back to the world of the senses. Beginning to flutter your eyes open. Coming back into your body. Shifting your body if you need to at all. Just be very delicate and gentle with it. And opening your eyes and coming back to the world of the senses. And I'm gonna actually see if I can unmute everybody. Can I unmute everyone at all? Unmute everyone at the same time? All here, allow participants. Okay, can y'all unmute yourselves? I don't know if I'm doing this right. Real smooth transition, Terry. I don't know how to unmute you guys. Everyone, ask to all. Okay, well, this is fun. I'm gonna individually unmute you. Or feel free to unmute yourself. There we go. Does anybody want to share their experience at all? You don't have to, but if you would like to, you are more than welcome. As I try and make my way across the universe here to unmute. So I apologize for that it's taking so long. I don't know how to do this, but you don't have to. But does anybody, I'm just going to mute everybody again, and I'll just unmute whoever wants to. Does anybody want to share their experience? You don't have to. I know host has to unmute. I know, Shannon. Host is also Zoomologically challenged. Does anybody just raise your human hand if you do want to share? You don't have to. Doesn't look like anybody wants to share, and that's okay. It's a very personal experience, and it's very quick, you know. Wait, Chrissy, you're doing something here? Okay, sorry. Well, you guys can use chat if you need to. You're welcome, Kathy. I'm so glad you thought that was beautiful. You know, these are quick. They're really quick, but hopefully you were able to, at least in that brief moment, shift and change. And what's beautiful about this is it's free, and it totally activates that vagus nerve, and you can do it anytime, anywhere. A lot of times, if you ever see me sometimes publicly or even personally, like if I'm like stressed out or anxious, I'll actually put my hand on my chest, because it's putting me back in my body, because my human nervous system is on alert and survival mode for some reason. I don't even necessarily have to know why. But again, wherever we place our focus and our energy, that's our focus and awareness, that's where energy is going. So in those moments, I'm actually sending energy to my heart. So if you ever see that, that's what's going on. And if you ever see me doing this, by the way, that's because spirit is around and my nose always itches. I don't know why, but you know, there's some physical cues. It's kind of funny. So Erica, let's see. Erica said she felt some pain and a little bit of pressure. Like when I said drop everything into the heart, you felt some pain and pressure for a second, like an air bubble. Yes. And again, let's see, Roxanne, let's see if I can unmute you. Yeah, hold on one second, Roxanne. Yeah, again, it's like the body holds energy. even if you're not aware of it. So oftentimes, like if you felt, you know, like any type of sensation, it's a way for you to place your energy on that and to break down the energy. You know, obviously there's a lot more that's involved, but in the short amount of time, that's a way to do that. So Roxana, yeah, you want to share something?
So yeah, my experience, thank you for that. That was beautiful.
Oh, you're welcome.
But as I was releasing from my head down to my heart, I was just like feeling so incredibly irritable.
Yes.
And like got this overwhelming sense of just like, oh, I'm gonna turn this off and leave. I'm done with it, right?
Yes. That's Mars.
And then I was, yay!
You were tapping into the energy. Yeah.
So I just, you know, again, I stopped tapping. I placed my hands on my chest and I just allowed the energy to dissipate.
Yeah.
Because I started feeling it around my my sacral.
Ah, so that's good information to know, isn't it?
Yes. But it was just like intense heat, nausea, and just like irritability.
Yeah.
So thank you for that release.
Oh, you're welcome. You're very welcome. Yes. The body is pretty amazing. And it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of you who are not used to coherency meditation, it might actually do the opposite at first, which is make you more anxious and actually make your hearts beat faster. Did anybody experience that at all? No? Oh, that's good. That's good. Because a lot of times, like, you guys probably do some sort of meditation, so your brain already knows how to kind of lower the waves already. But for people who are normally like don't do energy work or anything like that, like it can get even worse. So it's like, but that's okay because you want to actually build up energy. That's how energy behaves. You want to build it up. You want to crescendo it. I call it popping a pimple. You want to build it up so that it pops. That's what you need to do with energy. You either disperse it, you redirect it, or you accumulate it. You don't want to actually accumulate it because that causes depression and anxiety. So you want to redirect or you want to burst. So sometimes you got to make it worse before it gets better. Okay, you guys. So I cannot thank you guys enough for joining us. This is so meaningful to me personally because my main value system is connection. Like that's how I operate. And so by you showing up here, you allow me to connect, right? And humans are wired for connection. So by you guys all gathering here, your specific energy, like I get into your energy and I learn from each and every one of you, whether you're aware of it or not. And being primarily clairsentient, meaning I'm kinesthetic and I feel things, like being with you is not just about like, hey, what's up? It's like, I feel you and I feed off of you. And I'm so beyond grateful for this opportunity for connection. So that is like the main reason for this. Plus, you know, other people need that connection too. Other humans need, especially now with this whole physical distancing thing, you know, it's like, right? So each of us brought our own electromagnetic field here to create our own personal collective, which was beautiful because the energy work that we just did was our own personal bubble. And so we created this container for ourselves of complete and total safety. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And Rebecca, thank you for giving of yourself and participating. So, you know, just one last time, if people want to, you know, Rebecca does private readings. She does astrology charts. She witches. She does healings. She does the whole thing. So where can people find you if they want to get in touch with you?
Thank you. Definitely Instagram. I need to start sending emails in a non-annoying way. But once in a while. But yeah, so my website, which is sacredstarlight.com, or Instagram, sacred_starlight. And I do monthly meditations as well. In fact, events are sort of my favorite kind of healing thing that I was doing before COVID. And so we've kept it going. So I always have them linked on my Instagram and my website, and you can find out, but they're very much quantum focused for shifting energy. They're mostly not astrological focused, actually, although sometimes if there's energies that are coming up, we'll acknowledge those. And yeah, so quantum stuff, and also grace, because I think when you tap into the divine, you can ask for help. And I think there's like an opening that happens when you do that. And so I work, of course, the law of attraction, but it's like there's a force of love that can do a lot of good stuff, even if you're in a pickle. And so I like to kind of work with both of those things. And I know that we're like so much past time, but there's such an important thing I forgot to say, and I promise it's really short.
Okay, sure.
Okay. So yeah, Mars, during the retrograde, it's just not an amazing time to start new things. And I may have glossed over that, but yeah, so again, like that's kind of like a pause, go within. And then when Mars goes direct on November 14th, it's still a bit of contentious energy, but there will be forward movement, and especially October, because we're going to have Mercury retrograde on top of it.
So we should just like go off grid forever.
It's really just not a time to like sign a new contract or like get a new boyfriend or girlfriend or, you know, like life happens and it does what it wants to do, but we are being asked to integrate and review. And there's so much power in alchemy that we can, because when you change your own energy, which is the only thing you really ever can change, because the point of power is always within you. Yeah. Everything around you, you know, reflects that back. And so that was an amazing meditation, Terry. Thank you. And
oh, you're so welcome.
You know, please reach out to me, you guys, if you have any questions. I do have a PDF. I don't know if I can file share on here. Can I? Can you file share?
Can you? I don't know.
Does anyone know how? Because I'm like, if anybody does know how, otherwise you can just email me and I'd be more than happy to just send you the PDF of everything with all those glorious nerdy details.
Yeah, I think just for time's sake, I'm gonna make sure everybody gets all of your information, and then they can reach out to you and all that. I have a reading I have to get to. I'm so sorry.
But I think we're good then. So yeah, just email me if you want the deets and you want the goods. And thank you, everyone.
Perfect. You guys, thank you so much. Oh, just really quick, the next one is going to be October 11th. So mark your calendars. We're going to be working with the energy of Goddess Kali. So she's all about destruction and rebuilding. So we're going to have a drummer. There's going to be some drumming. All right, you guys.
Awesome.
Thank you. Stay connected. I'll see y'all on the flip side.
Much love.
Oh, it's so great to see you guys. Thanks for watching. Can I ask you for a favor, if you don't mind? Can you write down, "I feel terrific today" in the comment section below? Help me engage with you. I want to connect with you. I want to authentically know how you're doing. And also, if you have any questions that maybe I can answer for you in a video, I would love to do that for you. So don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe and share and tell all of your friends about the connections that you're making. And I will see ya on the flip side.